Today I'm going to do something you've probably never seen before. Planting one tomato, no, two, maybe three, or more in one pot to make sure you get a jump start on growing tomatoes. That's right, you heard correctly. 3 ways to grow a tomato in the same pot at the same time, 3 different ways. I don't know how to explain it. Just watch and you'll see what I'm doing. And I think once you watch it, you'll go, wow, 3 methods in one container? That is a great idea. I'm going to do that too. So you want me to do a video. I wasn't planning on it, Kitty. She's been sitting here watching me work and make a mess on the deck here. All right, I'll do a video. Hi everybody, it's Robbie from Southern California. You know what you want, she'll get it in a minute, but I've trimmed it all down and planted new, so we'll have to look. I'm going to plant a tomato today. I haven't even talked about how I do this. I've got different methods of growing tomatoes. These are some of Gary's very rare tomatoes. Don't ask me what they are. I don't even know. He just gave me the seeds and grow for it. I do know this is the Bradley's. I planted some. I had some seeds that were about, I think they were 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, so they grew. This I grew. These are just large cherry tomatoes, and the rest I'm not sure. He'll probably do a video on that. But what I'm going to do is plant one of these. Now I'm going to take it out, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it, and I'll tell you why. A few minutes ago, I tried to save a tomato plant that was growing up here on the deck, and it made it through our winter with our hail and 30-degree weather and our snow and everything, but I don't really think it's going to make it. So what I did was I went ahead and transplanted it, and I showed you how I did it. I should have added in some more kitchen scraps and paper, but I was kind of in a hurry, so I used grass clippings I picked a few weeks ago, and I just chopped them up. I'll show you exactly how I did it, and then we'll come back. I don't know what type of tomato plant this is, but I do know we got issues going on and it wants to grow. So we're going to go ahead and plant it until we get other things going. All this is purslane. We don't want that. All right, but I'm going to plant it in this pot. So this is the first thing I'm going to do. Grass clippings. You can go around your area. If they don't treat it, go ahead and collect it. I'm going to put this on the bottom. This is the Save on Soil. And the other thing you can do is get yourself a cheap scissors from the dollar stores. I actually got this at the thrift store for $1 because they're small and they had these. Cut up your grass clippings. Just cut them up. You can use this as a mulch. You can use this in the soil that you're creating. If you cut it up, it will break down quicker. And is that important? No, it's not. Because it doesn't matter how long it breaks down. Because while it's breaking down, you've got living matter in there. If everything's gone, then all your living matter, or most of your living matter, leaves. So, but you can cut it down. So it's up to you, but sometimes I like to mix it up. Let me get my gloves back on, because I like using dishpan gloves. Now, I'm gonna put some more stuff in here. And I had a bucket. Oh, there it is. Just sticks and different things. The grass will act as kitchen scraps, really. Got all this stuff. Let's see what else I've got. From around here, I don't have a lot of kitchen scraps. Let's see if I can, you know what, this came out of another tote. I'm running out of soil here. I may put some potting soil. First thing I want to do on this is I want to get rid of all this. And we're going to need a hoe. A really good garden hoe. There's a leaf from there. And this is what we're going to use. A 25-cent fork. You go to the thrift stores and get them for $0.10. Look in your drawer. I bet you got ones you don't want. And you want to hoe that all out. When you have stuff growing on the bottom like this, they take nutrients from the plants. So this is what you can do while your plants are growing. You just go in there and hoe them out with a fork. You don't need to go buy something for $8, $10, $15, $20. All you need is a metal fork. Doesn't matter if it's sterling silver, but if you want to treat your garden like that and you want silver, go ahead. It's just a cheap fork. Got this online. I think it was a 4-pack for $1. And then this we're going to pull out. This is some grass that's growing. We'll get to that later. We're going to pull this out. and trim this plant up afterwards. So let me see if we can get this out without breaking it too much. And if we do, we'll just trim it down. And like I said, it's early in the season, so I only have tiny tomatoes growing and a few coming up in the totes. Okay, now we definitely still want to get rid of this grass. Yep, it's just grass. I was trying to see if it maybe, no, it's not garlic chives. And we're going to put that towards the bottom. It can't grow up that much, not that grass. And then anything we hoed out of the top, and just put it on the bottom. That was just purslane. The seeds are so fine, they just blow everywhere and they grow. All right, this is actually pretty good because we're going to bury that a little bit. So we'll kind of, now I'm just going to have to find enough soil and then stake this up and decide if it's even worth keeping. So to save you from watching all this, all I did was collect soil that was all over the deck. Soil that was coming out of other flower pots that I had, other totes, whatever I had. I should have added, in hindsight, more shredded paper, but you know, I didn't have that much right now. I did have an old tomato cage on the deck, so I just strung it up and that's it. It's done, but we're not done yet. So there is that poor, pathetic tomato. I think you saw me on the last deck garden tour when I was roaming around here. I actually ate one of them. It looks like a brown berry and it was really sweet. Now, there's different ways I could do it. I could do cuttings, but I'm dealing with so many different tomatoes right now, Gary's and including mine. I'm trying to grow some odd ones that I decided it's not that important. I can always get a brown berry from somewhere else, and we have plenty of good tomatoes. But I went ahead, gave it a larger pot because it was in a little tiny nothing pot. I hoed it. Notice that I used a fork. Boy, I'm telling you, spoons that you can get for $1 and forks, even knives. You can get it like a 4-pack for $1. Look at your dollar stores. You don't need anything fancy, and you can get your garden tools really cheap that way. I went ahead and hoed out all the weeds. You don't want anything that's growing in there that doesn't belong in there is basically a weed. It was purslane. There was some sow thistle, but I'm growing plenty of sow thistle now. So now it's in its own pot. It does have a very thin, spindly trunk. I could bury it more, but it's not going to make a difference because though it may grow some roots, and I buried it a little bit, it's really old. So maybe this one won't make it, maybe the other trunk will. It had a double trunk on it. It doesn't matter. I'll show you what I'm going to do because this way I didn't waste my time or have to wait long. So let's put you on a tripod. See if I can get it down low enough because this tripod doesn't go that low. And I'll show you what I'm going to do and explain how you can do this too. If you're saving plants that made it through the winter. This is just kind of to give you ideas if you want to save something and you go, oh, it's a waste of time. It is a waste of time sometimes. But you know what? We live and learn. So I don't think any of it is a waste of time. I am going to remove one of my cherry tomatoes out of here. Now, I'm moving my chair closer, so I need to balance this so I don't drop it. Cherry tomatoes, your tomato plants are really forgiving. They're easy to move, kind of like lettuce. I'm just going to pull one out. See how they come out? I have another way of doing it that's even better than this. Okay, so we've got the little root, and we got one cherry tomato. This will go back where I'm keeping it. Now, being that I have so many cherry tomatoes, I could spot 2 of them in there, but I'm just going to drop this little one in here. Why would I plant another tomato plant? Let's keep it on the inside of the cage when I've already got this big one that may or may not make it. Well, these are a dime a dozen because I got this at one of the dollar stores, this particular one. And you know, maybe I should put 2 in here. If that one, this one does not make it, I now have this one. So I didn't waste my time planting and redoing this whole tote, or I should say this is a flower pot. I didn't waste my time. Everything is breaking down that I did put in here. I took soil from other pots around here that I've been changing around. You know what, let's go ahead and put a second one. And then later I'll come back and put a stake in. I'll take a second one out. I'll make sure I don't accidentally take Gary's. He's been waiting for it. Well, Gary's got 4 here. These are some different types of dwarf varieties. This one, I know isn't, oh, this one is not doing well, is an Aniswa. I planted that. I've got some other ones in the house doing better. These are his dwarfs. These are also, no, these are the Brads. This is another dwarf variety. It's interesting because they have really thick trunks. We're going to get another one of these out. I have so many. Look how many are growing in there. A whole bunch of them. So let's take a second one out and kind of ease it out. Then what I'll do immediately is bring this back in the house or wherever I want to put it and water them really good. I definitely have to keep this watered. When you're moving and disturbing pots, water it afterwards. So we'll put a second one here. This is a real little one too that I just plucked out right here. Now, if this plant, the one I planted, decides to make it, then there's no loss. I can pull the cherry tomatoes out or try to move them if I want. But if it doesn't make it, and I don't think it's really going to make it, in the meantime, it's going to give me a few tomatoes while it's doing good or not doing good. I've got some tomatoes. This one's actually ripe. There's the tomato. It's ripe. See, it's kind of an orangey brown. See that? There it is. Very good. I don't see any seeds. That's right. There was a couple seeds in there. You know what? It is so good. Let's spread the seeds around. Oh, there's the seeds. I think you can see the seeds now. I'm not going to save them. Can you see the seeds? I'm going to just spread them around in there. And if they start coming out like gangbusters, I can just move them around later and plant them somewhere else. And if they don't, they don't. Keep in mind, this is something that came up on its own anyway, so the odds are those seeds will too. But I can spoon those out later. Now, I've got multiple things going on in there. Got this old tomato plant that may or may not make it. Let's see, make sure you can see it. So you've got this tomato plant. I don't know, again, if it's going to make it. It's flowering, but it's really struggling. It made it through the winter. Most of our plants around the gardens died. This one was on the deck, sitting in this spot in a tiny pot. So I figured, you know what? Let's see what happens. Gave it a good watering. And I will have to come back and water these again. I'll take care of these two. And we know this is large cherry tomatoes. That's all it said on the package. No Latin name or anything. And then now, right here in the front, I've got this plant that is quite good with all those seeds in there. So I've got 3 things going on right now. I'm actually starting to grow seeds possibly when the time is right, if they are good seeds and want to grow. And they should be good because the tomato was right. Then I've got 2 seedlings that I just, started in the house and they're doing great. I've got a bigger one and a small one, both large cherry tomatoes. Got that taking off. And if it grows really good and everything takes off, I can always take them out. They're easy to move. And then I've got this one. Now, sometimes on older tomato plants, this I have found, this one in particular, the one I'm talking about, I have seen that these older ones can be hard to move. I have moved them before and they're kind of set in their ways and they just die. Okay, so when they die, what do? Hopefully you don't sit and cry. I know some of us do over certain plants, and then we pick ourselves up and we compost them and say, well, our plant was so good, now we're going to make soil out of it. And yes, you can compost tomatoes. You can compost anything. So that's pretty much it. So let's see what happens. We'll come back and you'll see it on one of my deck garden tours, and we'll see if it made it. We'll see if I decided to let one of these 2 or both of those grow, or if these came up, maybe I'm going to go with that, or who knows, maybe I'll pull the whole blessed thing out and I'll put it in a zucchini. So with that, have a wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. And don't forget, think about silverware, especially if you're a small-time gardener and you're doing containers. This stuff is fantastic. And if you lose it, it's no big deal. And you know what? I don't usually lose them, but I do misplace them, and I find them all over the garden. But boy, I'll tell you, they don't break. Oh, I can't leave. I can't leave. Oh my gosh, why can't I leave? Because somebody says you're done with the video and you know what I get. I know, and you don't like the sun. Let's go get it. Let's walk over here. Oh my gosh, that's all I have to do is forget. And I've got some, see, this is what's happening. I'm trimming the broccoli down because I planted a new one for her. And she's not going to understand, though I have a really super good one that I could give to her, but I'll wait. She doesn't know. Okay, here. And that's what she wanted. She loves her broccoli. So now, Have a wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow, right, Kitty? Bye-bye, everybody. Have a wonderful day.